If you're over 60 and noticing more hair in your brush every morning, what I'm about to share could change everything. This isn't about expensive treatments or complicated routines. American doctors have been watching a specific pattern of hair thinning in women over 60, and the research coming out of major universities is remarkable. There's one powerful food that U.S. medical professionals are now recommending, and it's probably sitting in your kitchen right now. But before I reveal it, I need to walk you through 5 critical foods in the right order, because getting this wrong could actually make things worse. If you stay until the end, you'll discover exactly what to add to your breakfast tomorrow morning. Please hit that like button, drop a comment with your age so we can build this community of women supporting each other, and let's get started. Let me start by saying something important. What you're experiencing is real, and it's not just about aging. The type of hair loss that affects American and European women after 60 has specific characteristics that doctors in the United States have been studying intensively. This isn't the same as what younger women experience, and it's certainly not something you should ignore or accept as inevitable. Let's begin with food number 5, and I promise you this isn't what you'd expect. We're talking about plain Greek yogurt, the unsweetened kind you might pass right by in the grocery store. Here's why this matters specifically for women over 60. Your body's ability to absorb protein changes dramatically after menopause, and hair follicles are made almost entirely of protein. When U.S. dermatologists see women in your age group experiencing diffuse thinning across the scalp, one of the first things they investigate is protein absorption, not just protein intake. Greek yogurt contains a specific form of protein that's already partially broken down, making it easier for your digestive system to process and deliver to your hair follicles. Research from Stanford University has examined how the probiotics in Greek yogurt affect nutrient absorption in postmenopausal women. What they found was fascinating. The beneficial bacteria don't just help your digestion generally, they actually improve your body's ability to extract and utilize the amino acids that your hair follicles desperately need. Think of it this way. You could be eating plenty of protein from other sources, but if your body isn't breaking it down efficiently, your hair never gets the building blocks it requires. 3/4 of a cup of Greek yogurt at breakfast, mixed with a small handful of berries, gives your system a gentle protein boost that's timed perfectly for the body's natural hair growth cycle, which is most active in the morning hours. But here's something crucial that connects to the next food. Greek yogurt alone won't be enough if you're missing a specific mineral that acts like a key, unlocking your cell's ability to use that protein. Without this mineral, you could eat Greek yogurt every single day and still see minimal results. That's where food number 4 comes in, and this one surprises almost every woman I talk to. Food number 4 is pumpkin seeds, and before you think this sounds too simple, let me explain what U.S. physicians have observed in their practices. Pumpkin seeds contain extraordinarily high levels of zinc, and zinc deficiency is one of the most common but overlooked factors in age-related hair thinning for American women. When doctors at the University of California conducted detailed mineral analysis on women over 60 experiencing hair loss, they found that nearly 70% had zinc levels below the optimal range for maintaining healthy hair growth. Not severely deficient, just below optimal, which is why it often goes unnoticed in routine blood work. Zinc does something very specific for your hair follicles. It regulates the oil glands around each follicle, keeping them functioning properly so your scalp maintains the right moisture balance. When those oil glands don't work correctly, your scalp becomes either too dry or produces an unhealthy type of oil that can actually clog follicles and prevent new growth. Additionally, zinc is essential for the cellular division that happens when new hair is forming. Without adequate zinc, your follicles literally can't produce new hair strands at the rate they should. Here's exactly what to do. Take 1/4 cup of raw pumpkin seeds, the green ones you can find in any American grocery store, and add them to your breakfast. You can sprinkle them over that Greek yogurt we just talked about, or eat them separately if you prefer. The timing matters because zinc absorption is enhanced when you consume it with protein, which is another reason why the Greek yogurt comes first in this sequence. Some women like to lightly toast the seeds for better flavor, and that's perfectly fine as long as you don't add salt, which can interfere with mineral absorption. Now, even with adequate protein and zinc, there's still a missing piece that most women your age don't know about. It has to do with inflammation at the follicle level, and this brings us to food number 3. This is where things get really interesting because US dermatologists have only recently started understanding how crucial this particular food is for women specifically in the over 60 age group. Food number 3 is ground flaxseed, and I'm talking about the ground form specifically, not the whole seeds. Whole flax seeds will pass through your digestive system without breaking down, which means you get almost no benefit. Ground flaxseed contains omega-3 fatty acids in a plant-based form that your body can convert into the same anti-inflammatory compounds found in fish oil, but without the fishy taste or the concerns some women have about mercury. Research teams at Harvard University have studied how these omega-3 fatty acids affect scalp health in aging women, and what they've discovered is remarkable. As you age, your scalp develops low-grade chronic inflammation. You can't see it or feel it most of the time, but it's there, quietly damaging the environment around your hair follicles. Think of it like a garden where the soil has become slightly toxic. The seeds might be fine, and you might be watering regularly, but if the soil itself is hostile, nothing will grow properly. That's what inflammation does to your scalp. The omega-3 fatty acids in ground flaxseed work to calm that inflammation, creating a healthier environment where follicles can function the way they're designed to. Additionally, these fatty acids help your body produce natural oils that keep both your scalp and your hair strands moisturized from the inside out. Here's your exact protocol. Take 2 tablespoons of ground flaxseed and mix it into your breakfast. You can stir it into that Greek yogurt along with the pumpkin seeds, creating a complete breakfast combination, or you can mix it into oatmeal if you prefer. Some women blend it into smoothies. The key is consuming it with your morning meal because the omega-3 fatty acids are absorbed more effectively when eaten with other foods, particularly foods containing some fat or protein. One more thing, buy the ground flaxseed in small amounts and keep it refrigerated. Once flaxseed is ground, the oils can go rancid fairly quickly at room temperature, and rancid oils can actually cause more inflammation instead of reducing it. At this point, you've got protein for building hair, zinc for follicle function, and omega-3s for reducing inflammation, but there's still something missing, and this is where most women get stuck without realizing it. Food number 2 addresses a deficiency that US doctors see constantly in women your age, yet it rarely gets discussed in conversations about hair health. Food number 2 is spinach, and I need you to understand why this matters so much for hair regrowth specifically in women over 60. Spinach contains iron, folate, and vitamin A, all of which play direct roles in hair follicle health, but there's something more important happening here. Many American women in your age group have what's called subclinical iron insufficiency. You're not anemic, your blood counts are technically normal, but your stored iron levels, measured by a marker called ferritin, are lower than ideal. When your ferritin levels drop, your body makes a strategic decision. It diverts iron away from non-essential functions like hair growth and directs it toward critical functions like keeping your heart and brain working properly. This is a survival mechanism, and it makes perfect sense from your body's perspective. But the result is that your hair follicles essentially go into hibernation. They don't die, but they stop producing new hair, and the existing hair becomes thinner and more fragile. Research conducted at the University of Pennsylvania found that when postmenopausal women with hair thinning were given iron supplementation to raise their ferritin levels, a significant percentage saw noticeable improvement in hair density over 6 months. But here's the important part. This only worked when ferritin levels were brought up gradually and consistently, not through high-dose iron pills that can cause digestive problems. Spinach provides iron in a form that's gentle on your digestive system and comes packaged with vitamin C, which enhances iron absorption. 1 cup of cooked spinach at breakfast, which reduces down from about 3 cups of raw spinach, gives you a steady supply of this crucial mineral. You can sauté it with a tiny bit of olive oil and garlic, or wilt it into an omelet, or even blend raw spinach into a fruit smoothie where you won't taste it. The vitamin A in spinach also helps your scalp glands produce sebum, that natural oil that keeps your scalp healthy and your hair shafts from becoming brittle. Now, here's something fascinating that connects everything we've talked about so far. The protein from Greek yogurt, the zinc from pumpkin seeds, the omega-3s from flaxseed, and the iron from spinach all work together synergistically. They're not separate solutions, they're parts of a complete system. But even with all 4 of these foods working together, there's one final element that acts as the master switch, telling your body to actually use all these nutrients for hair regrowth instead of directing them elsewhere. And that brings us to food number 1. Food number 1 is the most important thing I'm going to share with you today, and it's something that U.S. physicians and researchers at major institutions have only recently fully understood in terms of its impact on hair regrowth in women over 60. I'm talking about eggs, but not just any preparation of eggs, and not for the reason you might think. Yes, eggs contain protein and biotin, and those are valuable for hair health. But what makes eggs the single most powerful food for reversing age-related hair loss in women like you has to do with something called choline and a specific type of vitamin D that becomes critically important after menopause. Let me explain this in a way that makes sense. Your hair follicles have receptors for vitamin D, almost like tiny satellite dishes that pick up vitamin D signals and use them to regulate the hair growth cycle. When vitamin D levels drop, which happens to most American women as they age, especially those living in northern states or spending most of their time indoors, these receptors stop getting the signal they need to move follicles from the resting phase into the active growth phase. Eggs contain vitamin D in a highly bioavailable form, meaning your body can actually use it efficiently. But here's the crucial part that most people miss. The vitamin D in eggs works best when consumed with the fats that naturally come in the egg yolk. Those fats help your body absorb and transport the vitamin D to where it needs to go. Research teams at Johns Hopkins University have studied this specific mechanism in postmenopausal women and found something remarkable. When women over 60 consume 2 whole eggs daily for 6 months as part of their regular breakfast, those who also had adequate levels of the other nutrients we've discussed, protein, zinc, omega-3s, and iron, showed measurable improvements in hair density and shaft thickness. But here's what's even more interesting. The improvement didn't plateau at 6 months. Women who continued this pattern for a full year showed progressive improvement, meaning their hair kept getting better month after month. Now let me tell you about the choline in eggs, because this is something U.S. doctors are just beginning to appreciate for hair health. Choline is a nutrient that most people have never heard of, but it's essential for the health of every cell membrane in your body, including the cells that make up your hair follicles. As you age, your body's ability to produce choline internally decreases and dietary intake becomes more critical. Eggs are one of the richest sources of choline available in the American diet. When your follicle cells have adequate choline, they maintain their structural integrity and can divide properly to produce new hair. Without sufficient choline, these cells become weak and less functional, even if every other nutrient is present. Here's exactly what you need to do. Eat 2 whole eggs every single morning as part of your breakfast. Not egg whites only, because the yolk contains virtually all the choline and vitamin D. You can prepare them any way you prefer: scrambled, poached, fried in a tiny amount of olive oil, or hard-boiled. The preparation method doesn't significantly affect the nutrient content as long as you're eating the entire egg. Many women over 60 were told years ago to avoid egg yolks because of cholesterol concerns, but current medical understanding from the FDA and major U.S. health organizations has shifted dramatically. For most people, dietary cholesterol from eggs doesn't significantly impact blood cholesterol levels, and the benefits of whole eggs far outweigh any theoretical risks for women in your age group. If you have specific health conditions, talk to your own doctor, but for the vast majority of American women over 60, 2 whole eggs daily is not only safe, but beneficial. Now let me show you how to put all 5 of these foods together into one complete breakfast that you can prepare in less than 10 minutes. Start with your 2 eggs, cooked however you prefer. While they're cooking, take 3/4 of a cup of plain Greek yogurt and mix in those 2 tablespoons of ground flaxseed and 1/4 cup of pumpkin seeds. You can add a small handful of berries for flavor if you like. On the side, quickly saute a cup of spinach with a tiny bit of olive oil, just until it wilts down. That's your complete breakfast: eggs, Greek yogurt with flaxseed and pumpkin seeds mixed in, and cooked spinach. Every single nutrient your hair follicles need to reverse age-related thinning is right there on one plate. Let me be clear about expectations because this is important. You won't see dramatic changes overnight. Hair grows slowly, about 1/2 inch per month, and follicles that have been dormant take time to reactivate. Most women following this exact protocol report noticing less hair in their brush around the 6 to 8 week mark. That's typically the first sign that things are improving. Around 12 weeks, many women notice that their hair feels slightly thicker when they touch it, and their stylist might comment that there seems to be more volume. By 6 months, the changes become obvious. New growth along the hairline, improved overall density, and hair that looks healthier and shinier. Remember, this isn't a quick fix or a miracle cure. This is about giving your body the specific raw materials it needs to do what it's designed to do: grow healthy hair. Something else you need to know is that consistency matters more than perfection. If you miss a day here and there, it's not the end of the world. But for this approach to work, you need to eat these foods most days, ideally at least 6 days per week. Think of it like watering a garden. If you water consistently, the plants thrive. If you water randomly, they survive but never flourish. Your hair follicles operate the same way. They respond to consistent nutritional support, not sporadic efforts. I also want to address something that US doctors frequently see in their practices. Some women start this protocol and see wonderful results. Then they stop eating these foods once their hair looks better, assuming the problem is solved. Within a few months, the hair thinning returns. This isn't because the approach stopped working. It's because age-related hair loss is an ongoing challenge that requires ongoing nutritional support. Think of these 5 foods as long-term maintenance for your hair health, not a temporary solution. You wouldn't take blood pressure medication until your pressure normalized and then stop taking it, expecting your pressure to stay normal forever. Hair health works the same way. Let me give you some practical tips that make this easier to maintain. Many women find it helpful to do meal prep once a week. Hard boil a dozen eggs on Sunday so you can grab 2 each morning if you're in a hurry. Pre-portion the ground flaxseed and pumpkin seeds into small containers, making it easy to dump them into your yogurt without measuring every day. Buy pre-washed spinach to save time. The goal is to make this protocol so simple and convenient that it becomes automatic, not something you have to think about or plan extensively every single morning. You might be wondering about supplements. Couldn't you just take pills containing these nutrients instead of eating the foods? This is a question US doctors get constantly, and the answer is nuanced. Supplements can help if you have diagnosed deficiencies, but they're not a substitute for whole foods when it comes to hair health. The nutrients in real food come packaged with cofactors, other vitamins, minerals, and compounds that help your body absorb and use the primary nutrients. Zinc from pumpkin seeds is absorbed differently than zinc from a pill. The protein in Greek yogurt comes with probiotics that aid digestion. The iron in spinach is paired with vitamin C that enhances absorption. You can't replicate this complex nutritional synergy with supplements. Use supplements if your doctor recommends them for specific deficiencies, but don't rely on them to replace these 5 foods. Another question women often ask is about other hair loss treatments. What about minoxidil? The FDA-approved topical treatment often recommended for female pattern hair loss. Should you use it along with this nutritional approach? This is a conversation to have with your own physician, but I can tell you what doctors generally say. If you're already using minoxidil and it's helping, there's no reason to stop. The nutritional approach we've discussed works through completely different mechanisms and can complement topical treatments. In fact, some U.S. dermatologists believe that nutritional optimization makes topical treatments more effective because you're supporting hair health from both the inside and outside simultaneously. However, if you haven't started any treatments yet, many doctors suggest trying the nutritional approach first for several months before adding anything else. That way, you'll know whether diet alone is sufficient for your particular situation. I need to mention one more thing that's particularly relevant for American women over 60. Many women in your age group take multiple medications for various health conditions. Some medications, particularly certain blood pressure medications, antidepressants, and cholesterol-lowering drugs, can contribute to hair thinning as a side effect. The nutritional approach we've discussed can still help, but if your hair loss started shortly after beginning a new medication, that's worth discussing with your prescribing doctor. There might be alternative medications that don't have the same effect on hair, or your doctor might adjust dosages. Never stop or change medications on your own, but do have an honest conversation about whether your prescriptions might be contributing to the problem. Let's talk about realistic timelines because this helps with motivation and consistency. In the first month, you probably won't see visible changes, but important things are happening inside your body. Your follicles are starting to receive better nutritional support, inflammation is beginning to decrease, and dormant follicles are slowly waking up. Month 2 is when many women notice less hair in their brush and less clogging in the shower drain. This is the first tangible sign that things are improving. By month 3, you might notice that your hair feels different when you touch it, slightly thicker and more resilient. Months 4 through 6 are when visible improvements typically become obvious. You'll see baby hairs growing along your hairline and throughout your scalp, and the overall density improves noticeably. After 6 months, improvement continues but more gradually. By 1 year, most women following this protocol consistently report that their hair looks and feels dramatically better than when they started. Something important that doctors at Stanford University discovered in their research is that stress management plays a significant role in how well nutritional interventions work for hair health. Chronic stress elevates cortisol, which can interfere with nutrient absorption and disrupt the hair growth cycle. This doesn't mean you